Good morning, everybody, and a happy Saturday morning to you. A big thank you to that one on Twitter for the picture above. As usual, there's a lot. It seems like all the Royals are on tour somewhere. Something's happening with everybody. So let's just jump in and get busy because there's a lot to cover. Let's go. We're going to start off with Princess Eugenie, who attended an engagement for the King's Foundation. We know that's the organization founded by King Charles. And she was there alongside other members of the foundation's 35 Under 35 network. Eugenie was also spotted out at a dinner with Alessandra de Osma, Princess Christian of Hanover, for her fashion brand Philippa 1970. And a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what she was wearing on both of those occasions. Let's move on. Now, we're moving on to Duchess Sophie. Let me just say she's a braver woman than me because she was taken on a tour of the Peruvian Amazon. And while she was there, she was shown one of the biggest tarantulas in the world. She looked very nervous. She even held the leaf. I wouldn't have held the leaf. She also saw an anaconda snake and was examining an enormous tree. And she was treated to the sight of a sloth before she enjoyed a boat ride down the Amazon River. This jungle trek was one of many engagements she did on this day. Again, they may not be in the correct order. I'm going to try, okay? Don't forget that after Peru, she's also going to be Panama, Guatemala, Belize. She's going to be traveling around until November 19th, and I am here to cover it all. Like I said, she's braver than me. I wouldn't have touched that darn leaf. I would have been running screaming away from that leaf, let me just tell you. All right, the next thing that she did. Also on that day, again, maybe not in the correct order, Sophie took part in a turtle release. That took place November 12th. Now, at some point during the day, Sophie was taken to the naval base to look at the world's oldest river gunboat that was built in the UK. Pretty cool. This ship was built in Birkenhead, which is near Liverpool, in 1904, and it served in the Peruvian Navy's Amazilla flotilla. I just think it's amazing that the boat is still running. It's still there. I just think that's so cool. The boat itself has been on show at a museum since 2015. I wouldn't mind touring that myself. Look at the woodwork. You guys see the woodwork behind her? How gorgeous is that? All right, let's continue on. Again, on the same day, I'm not sure in what order, Sophie went to visit a community in Peru. I believe it's pronounced De Enero. I hope I'm saying that right. Where she walked around, toured around, met some of the local children. Somebody there gifted her an absolutely gorgeous necklace. It appears also that at some point while she was in the village, some of the girls did some sort of a dance thing for her, which I think is lovely. Now, the plane in the background there that you just saw, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe she got there by that small plane. I believe that this is one of the places they took her to when she was on that boat, you know, the boat trip. I think they traveled by boat to get to this area. Just my personal opinion. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce, as usual, for showing us what she was wearing. Let's move on. Next up, we have Prince William, who visited Cornwall. Here's what happened. Apparently, there were a lot of potholes there. And so somehow William managed to fix the issue. So there was a big project. So William was welcomed by all of those people that worked on the project. That's why they're on the road. It's the road that was fixed by William so that people could get up to the, I call it football, I guess you in the UK call it soccer. Anyway, William was welcomed by Neil Warnock. He made it onto the pitch. By the way, Neil Warnock is the ex-football manager. Now, after that, William was taken up and he met members of the community inside the football club. And then he met players from the youth and adult teams that are taking part that day in training on the pitch. And he heard about the difference that new road has made. You know, it really is amazing how the difference of a road can make such a big difference in sports. The youth team is called Mousehole. That's interesting. And they were up 13-0 against the visitors with two players scoring hat tricks. And of course, William spoke to some of the younger players, asked them how many matches they play, who they support. And he said, if you win 13-0, you're going to go a long way. And if you're enjoying it, that's the main thing. Just to clarify, William was there to inaugurate the newly built access road, which resolved a long-standing transportational challenge faced by players and staff because the track was deteriorating, it was narrow, there were potholes, they couldn't get to the pitch. And as soon as William heard of these problems, he immediately orchestrated a solution by assembling a group of businessmen to construct a proper road to the facility. Now, of course, he went out onto the pitch, he took the obligatory pictures, and then William spoke with pupils from the local Mousehole Primary School, and he asked the kids while he was shaking their little hands if they liked football. Now, while William was there, he went up, I guess you would call it the snack area, and he was offered some Cornish cider. And his response was, I have to be on my best behavior. It's too early in the day for alcohol. Listen, it's never too early. But he said, no, thank you. I got to be on my best behavior. God, I love that guy. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to King Charles, who presented Elizabeth emblems to the families of public servants who died in the line of duty. This emblem is the equivalent of the Elizabeth Cross, and it recognizes members of the UK Armed Forces who die in action or as the result of a terrorist attack. And the design on the emblem is a rosemary wreath, which is a traditional symbol of remembrance, and it surrounds the Tudor crown. Let's move on. Let's move on now to Queen Camilla. She held a reception at Buckingham Palace. They were at an event to mark 75 years of the English National Ballet. The Queen was joking that she was going to outperform the dancers. And she was gifted a pair of pumps. And that also occurred during the reception. They were baby pink. Now, the Queen, who is royal patron of English National Ballet since 2024, hosted the event in the Center Room on Wednesday. There were key speeches from key figures in the ballet company, and then there was a performance of The Dying Swan by dancer Miss Lee. And after the performance, Miss Lee said it was an amazing experience to perform at the palace. It was her first time ever doing that, and it was a very unique experience. The dancer also said that having the Queen as royal patron, and since this is their 75th anniversary, it's a great honor to celebrate the company's anniversary. She thought the Queen was quite moved and she was mesmerized over the performance. It was a real honor. The English National Ballet was founded, by the way, in 1950, and Kira Hashimoto, 16, from the English National Ballet Youth Dance Company, is the one who gave Camilla the pink ballet pumps during the reception. They were signed by Miss Lee and had Dying Swan written on them. Wow. Is that woman graceful? Look at that. And the muscles. Do you guys happen to see the muscles in her back? I mean, the amount of training that goes into this kind of dancing. And look how graceful with the arms. Oh, that's just fabulous. All right, time to move on. Next up, King Charles held another investiture at Windsor Castle. This is the 28th of the royal family for 2025. William did 7, Charles did 9, and all the others were done by Princess Anne. Next up, we have Lady Helen Taylor, daughter of the Duke of Kent. She attended the launch of the Ever After Garden in support of the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity, of which William and Catherine are joint patrons. This happened at the Duke of York Square on November 12th. Next up, we have the Duke of Edinburgh, who attended a reception at the residence of the Italian ambassador in London, and he came face to face with Mick Jagger. Looking good, Mick. Next up, finally, we got the information on Catherine's Together at Christmas. The event is going to be held on December 5th at Westminster Abbey. The theme is the power of love and togetherness, recognizing people who contribute to their communities. We found out that Kate Winslet, Hannah Waddington, Dan Smith, all these people are going to be involved. There's going to be readings by celebrity guests and performances by the Westminster Abbey Choir and other musical acts. We know this is the 5th year of this. Now, one of the things that's going to happen, which I think is fabulous, is Catherine is doing a tribute to the late Duchess of Kent and involving her. They're going to feature young musicians from Future Talent, which is a charity co-founded by the Duchess of Kent to support musically gifted children. So it honors her passion for music education, which she pursued after she stepped back from her royal duties to become a primary school music teacher. I think that's lovely. Let's move on. Let's move on to Princess Anne, who's on the second day of her tour of Singapore. She visited Airbus and Rolls-Royce facilities on Thursday. So first, while she was at the Airbus, they put her in front of the Rolls-Royce jet engines. These things were absolutely huge when she's standing in front of them. And then they sat her at the controls of an Airbus A350 flight simulator. She buckled her seatbelt and laughed during her safety briefing with the captain. At the same time, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence was preparing to experience a flight in a separate simulator suspended in the air in this huge, vast, open room. Both simulators had screens inside mimicking a runway through the front windows, and then they came to life and began to rumble through the air and down the runway. That would be so cool. Now, Anne, when this was over, leaned down to sign a visitor book, which was laid open on a table in front of the huge Trent XWB engine, which is the one, by the way, that powers the Airbus A350, the plane that she had just simulated flying the hour before. And she was told that the book was signed by the Prince and Princess of Wales in 2012 when they visited the campus as part of their tour of Southeast Asia and the South Pacific in celebration of the late Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Now, again, this may not be in the correct order, but the Princess Royal and her husband also held an audience with the Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong, at the Istana in Singapore. And the two of them, at some point during the day, also met the crew and took a tour of the HMS Spey, S-P-E-Y. And I believe that concludes their tour. Let's move on now. Link Lauren. He's an influencer. I'm sure most of you have heard of him. And he hosts Spot On with Link Lauren. And he decided to give Meghans' Christmas collection a try. And he bought the candle and he opened it up and there was no wick. And there was no way to light the candle. Now, he constantly comments on the royal family, and he's not Meghans' biggest fan, but he was curious to taste her holiday collection fruit spreads and the smell of the aroma of her candles. So he boxed this thing online on camera and held it up and said, there's no wick. There's nowhere to light it. Am I crazy? Where's that thing that I light? This has to be a joke. So he assured viewers this was not a stunt. There's nothing there to light. No, it's not pasted down. He was wearing an earpiece. He asked his producer, and then he said, this is like Meghan Markle's career, failure to launch. So, of course, what do you think happened? Well, the Sussex squad came out and said, that was fake. He pulled the wick out. That's not true. Just as an FYI, he tried the raspberry spread and he said, it's okay, but it's no better than Smucker's. Then he opened up the orange marmalade and immediately he goes, oh my God, this smells bad. There's a really bad odor coming from the marmalade. Then he tried it, and so disgusted was he by the taste that he actually spit it out back into the jar. No, I'm not kidding. He said he could feel his throat closing. So then he got to the last jar, which was strawberry, I guess, and he goes, okay, this is decent if you don't mind spending $35. But, all in all, her products are overly expensive, very small. Quality control on all of them is basically non-existent. This is what people are complaining about. People want their money's worth for these products. It's just not worth the money. And you don't hear a peep from Netflix, so I have a feeling that's not going well. Now, because the Netflix deal is gone and you don't hear anything from Netflix about the As Ever products, it's being said that one of the reasons why Meghan Markle went to Kris Jenner's party is because she was cozying up to Jeff Bezos because she wants him to help back her and do a collaboration because he's worth $255 billion. And going back to that party, let me just tell you, we know that Harry and Meghan's pictures were scrubbed from Kris and Kim's Instagram. And then it came out from People magazine, Harry and Meghan's preferred publication, that they had asked no photographs of them inside the party be published and that they had, clicked a box. Of course, the Jenners came out, Kris Jenner and Kim came out and said that's absolutely not true. And it's kind of ridiculous to think that you're already going to be at this party, that the pictures are out and that you think you're not going to be, seen. But the Kardashians struck back and said that is untrue. We never asked them to, check a box, and that's absolutely a lie. TMZ then jumped into the fray and said that the latest claim that they were not to be photographed was BS, that they were pictured at Chris's party all over the place, and there was no form. There was no consent form required because this was a party full of friends. So you have two vastly different stories. Who would I believe? Harry and Meghan, who have been proven to be liars in the past, or the Kardashians? Oh, I'm totally siding with the Kardashians. Now, the big question is, why would Harry and Meghan walk into the belly of an attention beast and think that they could come out unscathed? Nobody understands, because everybody knows you were there, even more so now. And the Kardashians were able to immediately capitalize on the royals' presence. And they're saying, if you show up to a Kardashian event, then you are part of the machine. And Meghan tried to rewrite the narrative. And apparently Kim Kardashian is really upset with that. And another source disclosed that the Kardashians became really irritated because Meghan politely but icily dismissed a request to film a rapid greeting for the Kardashians on Hulu. And Kim took that as a snub. You can ghost the royals, but not the Kardashians. So now it's being reported that the Kardashian camp are really angry because Harry and Meghan had absolutely no problem being pictured inside the Baby to Baby gala before the party. And they were posing with, Serena Williams. So you've already been papped outside. You were papped at Baby to Baby. You were papped coming in. So what's the problem? I mean, they're saying the Kardashians are really, really upset because this entire thing has overshadowed the fact that this was Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party. So, of course, what do you do when this is going on? Oh, you put out PR spin pieces. Meghan and Harry are being integrated into the Kardashians world, and Meghan is so uber excited. This kind of behavior is going to backfire because they need Hollywood support more now than ever. So, what else do you do? Well, you're trying to divert. So Meghan shares an old video of Harry running towards danger when he was being interviewed. That he was not running towards danger. There was nothing really going on. He was in the middle of an interview. He saw somebody running, so he started to run. It doesn't mean anything, and it didn't deflect from what happened. Then they decided to put out that they made a donation towards their next Netflix project, the Masaka Kids. So for those of you who might be confused, let me verify this for you or clarify it for you. The money that they donated came from Archwell. So it's the money they donated was money donated to them. These multi-millionaires have not given one dime of their own money to those kids. I'm not surprised. All right, I have good to move back to this case. I already told you there was a big issue with Harry's case. It's gotten worse. The private investigator whose alleged confession of hacking, including Prince Harry and Elton John and Liz Hurley and Baroness Doreen Lawrence and all of these people, and that's why they went to court, has now said that the statement that has his signature, that it's forged. He says that the statement from August of 2021, where he claims to have hacked voicemails and tapped landlines and accessed financial information and medical information at the request of a journalist at the Mail on Sunday, he said, it's false. The document is false. I didn't sign it. I don't recognize those earlier statements. The signature on that document is forged, and a lot of it is not written in my type of language, and it's substantially untrue. He previously retracted his 2021 witness statement in 2023. And so the court is now hearing legal arguments about whether he's going to be called as a witness for the trial. And of course, David Sherborne, the barrister who's probably bought 10 vacation homes off of Harry by now, has made an application to call Mr. Burrows' evidence as hearsay, while defense lawyers from A&L said they have to be allowed to cross-examine Mr. Burrows. This is going to get ugly. Mr. Nicklin, the judge, said, I need 7 days to decide whether to do this. And so there's going to be another pretrial hearing before the end of 2025. I will keep you updated. Now, I want to remind you guys that back in 2023, a convicted hacker and self-confessed professional liar described how he helped Harry pursue legal cases against the media. His name is Graham Johnson. He's giving evidence on behalf of Prince Harry, and he told the High Court back in 2023 that he was assisting Harry's lawyers by gathering evidence of alleged unlawful activities. This guy Johnson was stupid enough to admit that he paid thousands of pounds for information from private investigators, two of whom were due to give evidence on behalf of Harry about their alleged work for the media. And he told the courts he paid a, quote, small amount to Mr. Hanks, a Los Angeles private investigator, but he couldn't recall how much he paid to Steve Whitmore, a British private investigator who was convicted in 2004 of breaching the Data Protection Act. Now, Mr. Burroughs, the other guy, has made serious allegations on social media that Harry's lawyers and researchers exaggerated, embellished, and doctored evidence and said that there were bribes. And computed data appears to show that statements of 4 of Harry's unidentified witnesses were written by Dan Waddell, another one of Harry's paralegals. I mean, his case is going to hell in a handbasket. You know, people go to jail for this kind of stuff. This is just like the letter that was sent from the NYPD about the car chase that nobody could seem to find. Something's not up, and I think his case is in the crapper. Well, I'll keep an eye on it. Oh my goodness, you guys, I want your comments on this one. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is up for sale on Amazon, as well as my Amazon wish list and a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.